Okay, now we're going to cover 5 botanicals and mint identification from spearmint to pennyroyal in this section. And these are the mints. Got spearmint, peppermint, and the pictures that you see here on the left of your screen are spearmint, peppermint, catnip, horsemint, and pennyroyal. Now, spearmint is also known as the meadow enhancer. Its botanical name is Mentha viridis, and it goes by other names. So different parts of the country, different parts of the world, you may hear it called garden mint, green mint, fish mint, lamb mint, mackerel mint, spearmint. But remember, it's Mentha viridis, which is botanical name or Latin name. It's cultivated all over the United States. Mints are so well known, respected, and utilized that people take them and grow them all over. The part of the plant that's used are the flowers and the leaves. That's the medicinal part. They're collected in August and September. It benefits gas in the upper and lower bowels, dyspepsia, spasms, dropsy, gravel in the bladder, hemorrhoids, morning sickness, dysuria, and even suppressed urine. It can be used or applied as an infusion, tincture, and its medicinal properties are as a carminative, a stimulant, or anti-spasmodic, diuretic as well. Now, for gas in the stomach and bowels, dyspepsia, spasms, dropsy, gravel in the bladder, and piles. Now, hemorrhoids and piles are synonymous, same thing. Some people say hemorrhoids, some people say piles. And they could be used by injection in hemorrhoids or piles. So here you'd use it as an infusion or tea. Dosage 1 cupful BID, which means 2 times a day. Bis in D, it's Latin. Morning and evening. For colic and cramps, so even the little people can have it. Spearmint and horehound can be combined. I think that's our first combination. Standard tincture, 10 drops BID, or 2 times a day. Okay. Then for vomiting during pregnancy, dysuria or suppressed urine, you can use it as a tincture. Gather the leaves and flowering heads and place in a 1/2 quart jar. Add enough gin. In this case, they say gin. Sometimes it's vodka will be used, but add enough gin to cover the herb and soak it for 7 days. Express it, okay? Filter it, bottle it, and the dosage would be 10 to 50 minims in hot water, BID, or twice a day, okay? In fact, let me clarify this just a little bit. So when you see BID, TID, or QID, BID is twice a day, TID is 3 times a day, QID is 4 times a day. Spearmint, the meadow, oh, okay. Then we have peppermint, the rodent chaser, Mentha piperita. Is found all over the United States. We use the stems and leaves again, collected August and September. Brandy mint, white mint, balm mint. Benefits insomnia, colic, flatulence, or gas in the lower bowel, dysentery, vomiting, headache, infection, toothache, even palpitations of the heart. It can be used as an infusion, tincture, fluid extract, or commercial oil. That's pretty common. Medicinal properties is as an antiseptic, carminative, nervine, or stomachic. And then the medicinal uses for insomnia, colic, flatulence, dysentery, vomiting, or headache. Use it as an infusion, a wine glass full, frequently as needed. It's really mild. You won't overdose on peppermint. So if it says frequently as needed, as often as needed, take it until you get relief, until the person gets relief. For infection or toothaches, you might use a tincture, standard tincture preparation formula, dosage 5 to 20 drops TID, which is 3 times a day. For colic, flatulence, or palpitations of the heart, a fluid extract, standard fluid extract preparation method, dosage 1/4 to 1 drachm TID 3 times a day for colic or flatulence, or as a commercial oil. Then we have for teething. So you can use this for children. Peppermint, yarrow, elderberry flowers, standard infusion. Now, in this case and in other cases, if it doesn't otherwise designated, it's equal parts. So, and then we have also for colds and flu. So peppermint, yarrow, elderberry, flowers. So there are 2 combination formulas, one for teething and one for colds and flu, using equal parts of the peppermint, skullcap, pennyroyal, or peppermint, yarrow, elderberry. Standard infusion of equal parts. The peppermint, yarrow, elderberry is for colds and flu, and the peppermint peppermint skullcap pennyroyal is for the teething. Then we have catnip, the feline fascinator, Nepeta, cataria. Other names: catnip, catmint, catroot, field balm, catsword, found all over the United States. And I've got a cat, by the way, and she really does get excited about this. And all cats will. Okay, you use the flowers and leaves collected in August and September in the fall. Benefits: fever, stomach acid, colic, flatulence, and produces urination where it is stopped. Okay, so someone's having a hard time urinating, try some catnip. It can be used as an infusion or tincture. Its medicinal properties are as an anodyne, anti-spasmodic, aromatic, diaphoretic, nervine, or refrigerant. Then we have the medicinal preparations: fever, stomach acid, colic, flatulence, producing urination as an infusion. Take that tea, 2 tablespoons QID 4 times a day. For children, 2 to 3 teaspoonfuls TID. And by the way, there are guidelines on dosages that would be appropriate for example, younger people or people who are lightweight, okay, compared to others. So there are some guides on it. For scarlet fever and smallpox, mix equal parts of saffron and catnip as an infusion. Standard tincture, 5 to 20 drops. TID 3 times a day. Fever, stomach acid, colic, flatulence, urine production where it is stopped. Then we go to horsemint, also known as Montezuma's placator. The botanical names are, so in this case, there's more than one species that is medicinal. Monarda punctata, Monarda lutea, Monarda didyma, Monarda fistulosa. Found all over the United States. The flowers and leaves are used. It's collected in August. Spotted Monarda, bergamot, bee balm, it may be called. It is historically been beneficial for colds, diarrhea, stomach gas, colic, or rheumatism. Applications: infusion, tinctures, or oil. Medicinal properties as a carminative, diuretic, stimulant, diaphoretic, or rubefacient. Then here are the application methods: colds, diarrhea, stomach gas, colic. Is an infusion, 1 capful 2 times a day, morning and evening, or as a tincture. The preparation method would be place the leaves and flower heads in a half-quart jar, add gin to cover the herbs, soak for 7 days, express it, filter it, bottle and cork. 10 to 50 minimums in hot water, BID. For rheumatism, that's an oil in a special preparation. Probably haven't seen that. Probably don't see that in your health food source. But the oil would be commercially obtained. It's not something that people would tend to make at home themselves. Then it brings us to pennyroyal, the anti-seizure plant. Botanical names: idioma, pulegium, or Mentha, pulegium. Where is it found? All over the United States. It's also found outside the United States. Part of the plant that uses the flowers, stems, and leaves. Time of year collected, June to August. It's got other names as well. Benefits epilepsy. So historically, this has been a plant or an herb that's been beneficial for epilepsy. Ergo, the anti-seizure plant, as it's been called. Colds, flus, fever, jaundice, lack of perspiration, colic, gas on stomach. Application methods: infusion, tincture, or powder. Its medicinal properties are as a carminative, a diaphoretic, insect repellent, and anti-spasmodic. Medicinal uses for these various concerns: as an infusion, take it 1 teacupful 3 times a day. As a tincture, 12 to 1 fluid dram 2 times a day. Powder, 30 to 50 grains, and that would be the capsules, 2 times a day, or BID. Now, mint identification, and I know it always helps me if there's a picture or something related, so we'll have to incorporate that. But the mints, labiate, are identified by their aromatic scent. So mints are in kind of a category of herbs, or category of herbs that are called aromatics. So they're identified by their aromatic scent, and structurally they are square stems. There's an expression: all square-stemmed herbs are not mints, but all mints have square stems. So if you were to examine them, and students have all often asked, how do you tell one plant from another? They look different. I mean, they look the same. Their leaf structure, their stems, their roots, their distinguishing characteristics. So you may have to pull it out of the ground, or look at the leaves, or look at the leaf structure, or the where the leaves are placed on the stem. But they are different. They are all different. In some, in some cases, like with some berries, one is poisonous and one is good, beneficial. One is medicine. So you want to be able to make those distinctions as well. But the petals or corolla are unified, are united, forming a tube which forms 2 lips on the outward part, hence the name labiate, or lips, which is Latin. It's a large family with about 150 genera and over 3,000 species. That's what, and we're covering a relatively small number of them. It's almost cosmopolitan in distribution, but it seldom grows in the Arctic or alpine regions. So in identifying herbs, there are some of them grow at different elevations. So it's saying if you go way up in the mountain somewhere, you're probably not going to find mints. Spearmint is a perennial mint which grows from creeping rhizomes. The leaves are sessile or spiked, which means attached to the stem without a leaf petiole. We'll go more into the morphology of herbs as we go along as well. But okay, let me share something here. The mints have creeping rhizomes. So if you plant or you have mint growing around you in your yard or something, the rhizomes go underground and they will stretch out north, south, east, west, whatever. So you may have some mint that started over here, but it's all over. The people say it's all over the yard. It just takes over. Yep, it's growing underground. Okay, so as long as it doesn't run into some interference, if it doesn't have a barrier or something around, like if you put it in a pot or a container and then put it into the ground, it's not going to get out of that pot. If there's a barrier there, but otherwise it's just going to keep on creeping. You have some plants, some herbs that do that. 4 stamens, pale to lavender white. So the color is going to give you an indication. As well. Peppermint is a perennial that also, grows underground stems, rhizomes. The leaves are petiolate, lanceolate, ovate to elliptic. And again, these are some terms that relate to what we call morphology. Flowers crowded in a dense terminal spike, pink to lavender white. And then you've got horsemint generally grows on a singular stem with one or several dense terminal flower heads. The leaves are toothed. Okay, so the leaf shape is going to give you an indication. The plant's mostly perennial. The corolla, the flower head, is 3-lobed. Plant is named after Spanish physician and botanist Nicholas Monarda. Stamens 2, pink, or it can be pink to purple. And then we have catnip, is a taproot perennial. So you're talking about the root. So the root of a plant. All roots are not the same. Some are taproots and they're different shapes. We'll get into those in another session. It's commonly 3 or more stems per plant. The corolla is 2-lipped. Stamens 4, flower color whitish, dotted with purple. It's rarely yellow. And then you have pennyroyal, is annual, but it can be perennial. Grows in dry, open areas in a lower elevation. Corolla by labiate or labiate. Stamens 2, flower color light purple. Okay, so that's more for reference. Okay, it's easier when you see it and you see, oh, that's the corolla. Those are the stamen. That's the taproot, and how the rhizomes creep or expand. Okay, so now we get into a glossary of terms. You've heard me talk about the medicinal qualities or properties of the herbs. An anodyne is a pain reliever, medically, and herbally. An anodyne is pain reliever. An aromatic, a substance with a fragrant smell, which possesses stimulant factors. So for example, with the mints, taking the mint, eating the mint, or having the mint in food, having the mint as a tea has one benefit when you ingest it, when you steep it. The other benefit is the fragrant smell. The peppermint, horsemint, catnip, whatever. The smell and how it stimulates us, how we respond to it, is as a stimulant, but it also has healing benefits as well. Okay, anti-hemorrhagic. So just think hemorrhage, is another word. It's more of a technical or medical or clinical word for saying bleeding. So anti-hemorrhagic means it's an agent which stops bleeding. Antiseptic, a substance or medicinal agent, which prevents or destroys microorganisms responsible for decay or putrefaction. Anti-spasmodic, used to relieve spasms of involuntary muscle. Someone says, I got muscle twitches or something. It stops spasms. Antiossive, relieves or prevents coughs. Astringent, agents which cause the tissue to contract or constrict. Astringents are vasoconstrictors. That means the veins are being constricted. That inhibits the bleeding process. Okay. Carminative, relieves stomach and intestinal gases. Demulcent, an agent which soothes irritated or inflamed surfaces. Mucilaginous, medicine or application. Okay. Soothes inflamed substances, demulcent. Diaphoretic, an agent which promotes perspiration or unusually profuse sweating. There are times that you want to bring on what they call diaphoresis, where you want, you may have heard someone say, oh, I've got to sweat this out. There's been hydrotherapy in various forms of natural healing that recommend or incorporate diaphoresis or diaphoretic agents, herbs to produce sweating. So sometimes fever is not a problem. It's a healing, part of the healing process. Expectorant, an agent which helps the ejection of mucus from the lungs and bronchial tubes. Then we have the hemostatic, an agent which checks or stops the flow of blood. Hemo or heme always refers to blood. Hemorrhage, okay, so they will go hemo or heme again. A large escape of blood from the vessels or bleeding. Oftentimes that's internal hemorrhaging, okay? So they say, oh, this person's hemorrhaging. There could be surgery, there could be trauma, there's something that's causing this bleeding. And they got to check that so a person doesn't bleed out. Narcotic, an agent that produces a deadening or numbing feeling or condition. And they have nervine, an agent which relieves pain. That doesn't include morphine or narcotics. This would be more of a natural pain reliever. Okay. And refrigerant, like the refrigerator. It's a cooling remedy, an agent for relieving fever or thirst. There are times when that fever is not your friend and you need to cool the body down. You need something to cool the condition down. Rubefacient, an agent which reddens the skin. So think ruby or ruby red. Rubefacient. Why might you need a rubefacient? To bring circulation to an area, okay? Warming, okay? Getting the circulation, getting blood flowing to an area. Stomachic, an agent or medicine which promotes the functional activities of the stomach. So there we have the glossary of terms. That's not all the terms because we got from A to practically Z, probably more like W or so, of terms which are which would be used in medicine and used in herbalism. And remember, as ever, this presentation is for informational purposes, doesn't replace the advice or counsel of a doctor or healthcare professional. Holistic Training Institute makes every effort to provide information that's accurate and timely, yet makes no guarantee of this. Information changes all the time. We learn some new things all the time. And we're speaking about the historic use of herbs. We encourage you to consult with and rely on the advice of your physician or personal health care provider. Okay. Okay, so in review, the systems of the body. 1, central nervous system, brain, nerves, what comes off our spine, the nerves come off, go all throughout the body, central nervous system. Next, musculoskeletal system, sometimes is broken out separately, but in many cases, you'll see that the system referencing muscles and skeletal system because they work so hand in hand. The integumentary, hair, skin, and nails, particularly skin, but hair, skin, and nails. Respiratory system, from our sinuses, okay, our nose, throat, down our lungs and bronchioles and such, that's our respiratory system. Our digestive system, responsible, it starts in our mouth. Actually, starts with our teeth, our tongue, our lips, down our throat, esophagus, down to our stomach, and then leading to the small and large intestine. That's our digestive system. Then that ties into and correlates to the intestinal system. Small intestine, large intestine. Small intestine food is being broken down. Large intestine, it's being broken down to an extent. There's a lot of bacteria, a lot of friendly bacteria in the colon, and the body is absorbing water and getting out the last of nutrients and preparing the what's left over to exit the body. The circulatory system, our blood, heart, veins, arteries, all those things that are connected, where nutrients come in and the waste goes out, there's an exchange there. The lymphatic system, responsible for carrying immune or fluids, lymphatic fluid throughout the body. It doesn't have a pump. When you move, the lymphatic system moves. Okay, so it's important for our immune system health, our lymphatic system, for us to move. Our glymphatic system, how the body detoxify. When the kind of things shut down, it says, okay, time to cleanse. You're not eating, you're not drinking, you're not taking stuff in, you're not doing anything. Let's clean things out. Lymphatic system. You won't hear as much about that one. Endocrine system, from our pineal, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenals. These are, well, excuse me, parathyroid, thyroid, or pineal, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, and I could be missing a couple in it. It's part of our endocrine system. And then our what are adrenals? We're part of that. And then our reproductive system, responsible for producing eggs and our sexual expression and such. And then our urinary system, responsible for the fluid waste, our ureters, our kidneys, etc. That's our urinary system. And then I put in there, just for good measure, the endocannabinoid system, which at some point I'll probably do a course or something on the endocannabinoid system and how the endocannabinoid, we can be checked, or there's kind of a measure for determining if a person's underlying challenges or problems are related to the endocannabinoid system. Okay, and that's that. We'll do at least another section on the body systems. Now, when it comes to the mints, they have something in common. Pretty much all the mints benefit the digestive system. So when you see gas and flatulence and a number of these conditions, then the mints are addressing the digestive system. Now, of course, the anti-seizure, plant is not just that the digestive system, that's the central nervous system. May have some endocrine relationship or something in there, but something that's common amongst the mints, that the digestive system. Okay. So we talked about the body systems as well. So all herbs correlate to one or more body systems. And so as you understand more about the body systems and what the body system needs, then you have an idea of if that herb is activating, building, or cleansing. So, and everybody doesn't need necessarily the same thing at the same time. You got someone who is 23 years of age in very good physical condition. They have no health concerns. Then you have someone who's 72 or 85 or something, and they're infirm. You don't treat those two people the same. Okay, they don't necessarily have the same reserves in their body. They don't necessarily have the same energy or the ability to heal. Someone who has diabetes or heart concern, congestive heart failure, their kidneys are not functioning, whatever. So I caution anyone who listens to people online and elsewhere that just say, oh, everybody just needs a fan. Everybody needs to do this. Everybody needs to do that with this herb. It really is dependent on the person. Any professional, just like if you go to a doctor's office, when you go to the doctor's office, you don't go in there coughing and they say, oh, you sound like you got the flu. Here, take this prescription and send you out. No. They bring you in, they examine you, take a look at your throat, because they might have seen 60 cases of flu that day, but that's not what you've got. So they do need to have the examination. They do the what I call assessment. They do the blood test. They may do a swab. They want to find out if it's a bacteria, if it's a virus, is it COVID, is it whatever it is, before they write a prescription or have an action. That's the treatment phase. I call it ATM. ATM, assessment, treatment, maintenance. Assessment. First, a professional is going to assess you. They're not going to guess. If you're not assessing, you're just guessing. So a professional is going to ask questions. How long have you had this? What's been going on? Oh, you've got your coughing. Is it productive or non-productive? Is it white, yellow, gray, green, purple, whatever? Is it, again, how long has it been going on? Is it in your chest? Do you have pain accompanied with it? Do you have a headache? Do you have whatever? Okay. So there is, so the more questions and the deeper they go, they have a better understanding. Amongst practitioners, a good practitioner is going to assess the person. In Ayurveda, or in the East Indian form of healing and herbalism, they have types. They have person is Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. What's your constitutional type? Well, if we do iridology and such, what is your constitutional type? Some people, the systems of their body are stronger or weaker. They may be more resistant to certain diseases than other, or some may be more vulnerable. Okay, but either way, a professional is going to tend to assess, especially when it's suspected to be something serious or chronic. Okay, so you got ATM, assessment, treatment, maintenance. We're going to assess you, find out what's going on. 2, propose a treatment plan, okay, or a course of action. And then 3, how are you going to maintain, once you get over this cold, this flu, this whatever, the blood sugar, whatever is going on, how do you maintain that over a longer period of time so the person is well and they're getting better and they're able to sustain that for a while. We don't want a temporary fix. We don't just want to change the symptoms. We don't just want something that masks the problem and it ends up getting worse. A person gets relapses. We want a long-term solution for particularly a chronic condition. Now, an acute condition, let me get into some terminology. An acute condition is somebody breaks their leg, they have some trauma, they fall down the stairs, something happens suddenly, and it's trauma or something that happens quickly, okay, which is different than a chronic condition, which happens slowly and over time. Heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes and such, those things don't come on you all of a sudden. It's like, oh, I was perfectly fine, and then I had congestive heart failure. No, those are chronic conditions. Those are often related to diet and lifestyle. So you got to be able to distinguish, is it an acute condition or is this a chronic condition, and treat it accordingly. And then especially when it's a chronic condition, which a lot of people have, then again, you're doing something, dietary, lifestyle, whatever the main protocol, whatever is happening over a longer period of time. It took a while to get it. It takes a while for it to be remedied, okay, or addressed. And then there's the other part of that M is monitoring and measuring. Now, what are you monitoring? What are you measuring over time to know that the person is maintaining their healing, their balance, their homeostasis, is this also called. Okay, so high blood pressure, you're measuring and monitoring the high blood pressure. Diabetes, you're measuring and monitor the blood sugar level. Respiratory concerns, you're measuring and monitoring the congestion in the lungs, or what stage a person's at in terms of a respiratory ailment, or or condition. Could be, again, the fluids and the color of it and the appearance of it, those things. Is a person's energy improving or getting worse? How's a person's sleeping habits? How is their energy? Okay, so is it important? So as practitioners or future practitioners, as you get into this is what we're looking at. And even if a person is going to the doctor and diligently, you know what to report. This is what's been going on. You know your mom, you know your dad, you know your loved one better than they do. Okay. One time my mother went to ended up going to a doctor's office. And actually, she ended up going to the hospital. But now my mother was in her 90s, and they didn't know how she responded. She's like, oh, she's 90. It's like, mom didn't have a cane or wheelchair or anything like that. Mom got around like this, right? All the time. But they didn't know that. So they didn't know. So when she's coming in, they say, oh, she's 90. Well, what do you expect? That's not her regular disposition. That's not her regular energy. Okay. So so even if we're interacting with people in the medical field, we want to understand what they're doing and how to communicate to them, so we're getting the best care, treatment plan. You understand, are they assessing? Are we in the treatment phase? What are we going to do to maintain? What are we monitoring? What are we measuring? What are we paying attention to? What should we be careful of? What's a desired effect of the medication? What's an undesirable effect or negative side effect? Okay, what could be dangerous? These types of things you want to know. So the ATM will help you. Okay, and then herbally, the ABCs help you: activating, building, cleansing. What is the herb? What is the process? What's happening there as well? Okay, so that's kind of a couple of tools. We'll go into that more as we go along as well. And here's just a little bonus, little something for today. And you know what this is? Can you see this? Oh, you know what? You got a green background, so it makes it a little difficult. But that makes it real difficult. I got a green screen. Gosh. I wonder, let me see if I can put something behind it, which will make it easier. Nah, I didn't do it. Okay. Anyway, this is lemon balm. That's lemon balm. And this, you're still gonna have a hard time seeing this. This is sage from my garden. And this, you might be able to see these a little bit more easily because you see that? You know what that is? Pokeweed. No, I'm not gonna eat that. Not gonna eat those. Those are not the berries. You don't want to eat those. But that's growing out in my in my yard, just something from nature. I'm gonna give you a cheat. Okay. You know, you heard of cheat codes and things like that. Here's a cheat program. You can get it on your phone. I've got it on mine. It's one, you can take a picture. Oh shoot, that's still green, son. But it's called, what is this one called? This one is called, and I'll describe it at first. It is it's a program that identifies various plants. So there are how many herbs and plants out there? Thousands, right? Are you going to memorize everyone? Oh, okay, let me see. Okay, that's what that. No. So what you do is you would have a reference, right? Okay. And so you could take a picture of this plant and it's going to tell you what it is. Pretty much, and I've gone out west, whatever, south, different places. So you'll be able to identify it quickly. And then they'll give you some information on, is a plant healthy or not? Is some of it, but it's also going to give you some history. Oh, this is such and this in this family. And they give you some background. Guess what? Use all the tools that you can. Use all the tools you can. So I use it as a tool. Some plants look like other ones. So when you got it with you, you'll just build your repertoire. And after you see it more and more and more, oh, that is that. I thought that was it. That looks familiar. A lot of people, my grandsons, at one time, we were in my garden and I said, do you know what this is? With a little green round thing on the plant. And they said, is it an apple? I'm like, well, those are tomatoes. But they had never seen tomatoes grow in a garden on a vine. So they're like, they didn't know. Where did tomatoes come from? The grocery store. A lot of children are going to see, they don't see apple. Well, they may see apples, but most of the things they see in the grocery store, they've never seen in nature. They haven't been on a farm. They haven't seen alfalfa or any number of things. And they definitely are not familiar with herbs because everybody just calling them weeds. They may know what a dandelion is. They may know what they may even know what red clover is. So from the time my youngest grandson was little, I'm like, we're going on, he and my niece, we're going on an herb walk. We're going around here and we identify, and they're very curious in that age as well. They take things in quite well. Okay. So we can teach them some STEM or STEAM by taking them out in nature and getting them familiar with what's around them. And perhaps they'll be caretakers of the planet like we need them to be. Right. So anyway, so those are a few things that are in my yard, in my environment, in my garden. I didn't do a big garden this year, but I do have some plants, some things that come up. And as you know from this section, these mints are, related. It's to over 3,000 species and 150 genera. And they're something that you want to have around all the time. You can grow them in your house. You can grow them in your yard. To have mint teas, very good, great aromatic, a good flavor, great for the digestive system. And for those of us who believe that many ailments begin in the gut, and with the health of the gut, you want your digestive system to be healthy and strong. You want your gut bacteria and flora to flourish as well. Okay, I'll take questions in just a little while. Okay, you'll look back over the section on the mints as well, and we did talk a bit about the characteristics of that, but again, that was absent having pictures. I'm going to commit to bringing in some pictures that give you more illustration than what was first apparent in that section, and get into it a bit more. So when they talk about something being sessile or spiked, those types of things, that gets into what we call plant morphology, the study of the structure, the shape, the form, the function of plants, from its flower to its leaves, to its stems, to its root, the various parts of the plant, to the placement of the leaves on the stems. You have some plants and the leaves are opposite, which means they're directly opposite to each other. You have some that alternate. You have some leaves that are oval shaped. Now, most of us can relate to probably science or biology, science or something in elementary school, where they say, oh, go out and get a oak leaf or a maple leaf. You know that those leaves have different shapes, different sizes, different shapes, different characteristics. It's true with all plants. Some plants, the roots. They mentioned one plant having a tap root. All roots are not the same. All root structures are not the same. These mints they have roots and they have rhizomes. Those rhizomes reach out and grow, and they can expand, whereas others don't propagate that same way. Wherever you plant them is where they're going to be. The roots are going to be pretty much just in a certain area where you might be able to pull them up with those mints. They're reaching out there. Some plants come back so often, and so you got perennial, annuals, and even biennials. They have different characteristics. So the more you learn about it, that helps you to identify as well as appreciate the gifts of nature and these qualities and characteristics that the plants possess. Okay. You'll notice that there are recommendations for each one of those. Do you take it in? How do you take it? For what condition? Okay. Do you take it by the teacup full? You take it all you want until you get relief? Oh, just whatever. Make a ton of, just drink it, as much as you need to. Or you having a tincture, an extract, what things, there are reasons for that. Some of that is to facilitate dosage, which means that, for example, if you say, there's no way that child is going to drink 2 or 3 cups of that a day. It's a little child, they don't need a whole lot, but they're not tolerating the tea. They're not drinking the tea really well. Well, what did they do? What do they do? Well, we're just going to give them, we got this in an extract. or tincture. And we're just going to give the baby a couple of drops. Baby might wince or something like that, but give them some water, give them some juice, something behind it. That's a way. So some of the preparation methods are so you can get like a concentrated extract in less. You don't have to use as much for someone perhaps who can't tolerate as much, or for the to preserve it. So this basil is not going to be growing this winter, right? So let's say this was a medicinal plant, okay? It's not going to be growing through the winter. So if I'm going to have a let's say a mint extract or a medicinal herb extract, one of the reasons why I'm doing that is because I can't carry a whole bunch of mint in my pockets. I'm going someplace, I'm going across the country. I can't just stuff my pockets or my bags with mint, but I can carry an extract, and it can last over the winter. Okay, so I can get the benefit of the medicine out of season. I can have a lot of an herb and break it down into a powder or something, so that it's easier to transport. It lasts over time. There's only so long that this sage, the sage is going to last. Okay, it's going to stay in this present state. Do I dry it? Do I powder it? You know, if it's medicinal. So there's reasons for the preparation methods. A reason why horehound candy or a root beer candy or let's see, what was another popular one? Even mint. The mint candies started off being medicinal. Okay, the horehound, that came from the horehound root. That's a candy. Okay, or it can be, taken as a candy. Cherry lozenges. Now, I'm not talking about the Ludens or the Mr. Smith or whatever that stuff is. It has no cherry in it. Or the lemon cough drops or lemon drops and those type of things. Many of those products started off as medicines, but they say, God, we can't get kids to take that. Gosh, if you don't get the herb into the person, it's not going to do them any good. Doesn't matter how good it is. They're not tolerating it. They're wincing. Oh my God, that's terrible. That's sour. That's too strong. It's too stringent. So some of the delivery methods are to make it more convenient, more palatable for people to take. Okay. So preparation method, we talk preparation methods, dosages. There's appropriate dosage depending on that. We'll get more into what that looks like as well and how that functions. And remember BID, TID, and QID, right? BID is bis and D, or 2 times a day. B is by. T is 3, like the first letter in 3. Q is quarter. A quarter is 4, right? Quarter of $1, 4 quarters. Quarter of a whatever, quarter of a cup, whatever, is 4. So how often, how many times are you taking it? Certain intervals. We got some combinations there too. Okay, unless otherwise designated, typically it's equal parts. Equal parts of elderberry and yarrow and some, whatever, 2 or 3 things, equal parts of that, making a combination formula which synergistically works together to benefit a system, a condition, a cold, a flu, or colic or something. All right. So there's a lot that's kind of wrapped up in there. And I don't expect you to remember it all, but have reference and understand and say, okay, that's okay. You should have a certain amount of this 2 times a day. And they'll say morning and evening, for example, breaking it up. Not just 2 times a day, take it and then take it again. Give the body, give it to the body, let it absorb it, work with it, and then take it, you know, some more. One of my greatest hopes that you would do with this is utilize this for yourselves, your loved ones, and then extend that out to others. I got a number of stories of what's happened within my family and my circle, and the people is like, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that works so well. Okay, and some of these unusual preparations, I'll tell you, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Billions have been made because somebody said, you know, came up, yeah, that noni, we just let that drop to the ground. We didn't. And then somebody said, wow, that's some powerful stuff. That's some powerful medicine. Wow, that old stuff, them old wives' tales. We don't do that so more. You know, we don't do that so much. Or in some places they hold natural medicine and natural healing methods in the same esteem as they do medicine, or even more so. Okay. Aromatherapy, aromatics. There's a lot that you can study here. What I'd like for people to do is find something that you're challenged with, something that's recurrent and chronic in your family. Find a solution to it, work with it, and really delve into that. You're not going to be master of 16 different things. That never works. You can get really good at one. There's a chronic concern that you see in your family and probably affects millions of other people. And you're not going to help all million, with the millions of them. But if you can get a portion of them with something that works, name goes up in lights. I met a man who was part of a team that got the Nobel Prize in medicine for discovering one nutrient in its action. They're like, wow, one. And this was for their whole, career. They took no telling how long studying such one nutrient. Okay. So one thing can make a big difference. I'm not one of those people curing everything. Raising people from the dead. Oh, everything. It's just, it's not that simple. Everything is in the same thing, is in the same thing. When you understand the body systems and understand, just like a car, because you put something in your gas tank doesn't mean it's going to go to your transmission fluid. It's not going to go to your oil. It's not going to make your tires rotate, right? We have different systems. They need different things to have balance. Okay.